Oh my. I think we're here. I think we're live. Cool. Alright, let me see here. Just moving this little thing over. Hey everyone. It's me, Ash. The one bun, here with, the one bun that I actually have living with me. This is Fizzgig. Depending on how long you've been around on my channel, you may or may not have seen him before. He's my lion head rabbit. He's adorable. Okay, let me see here. Trying to make sure everything is working before I go ahead and get started here. Cool. Yeah, he's a cutie. He's a good boy. He's just having a little outside time, chilling, munching on random things, doing his bunny thing. This is kind of like the equivalent of walking him, except I actually do walk him sometimes. I take him on a leash. Well, it's not really a leash, it's like a bunny harness. And it's made specifically to be comfortable enough for them to wear and sort of walk around in. I mean, you got to get him used to it. And I mean, he really just likes to go outside. It's not that he necessarily likes being walked. He just likes to go outside. Whew. Okay. Now, if I could just find... What on earth? Good. I'm always losing my stuff. Thought I had my... Oh. Alright, I got my phone now. All's well. Yeah. Long day. Long day. Yesterday and the day before. I mean, I knew it was going to be, kind of not the best couple of days after the memorial. I knew it was going to be like, for various reasons, I knew I was either going to be like recovering emotionally from it, just from doing the crash itself, or that, I have to deal with, all the, I get messages from actual Jehovah's Witnesses, or I presume they are, unless they're just really weird and like to defend Jehovah's Witnesses for no reason. So, I knew that was going to be part of it, that I was going to have to deal with that as well, as that usually happens. I figured there might be some backlash from my family if they actually recognized me there. I mean, like I said, one of them did look at me, look me in the eye, and she didn't. I don't know. I can't tell if she actually recognized me or not. Odds are she didn't, odds are that she did recognize me, but that she wasn't really sure that was me because of the way that I look and sound now. But she probably had a hint because I mean, I'm the only one that she knows of in the area that does that kind of stuff. So there are other people, she just doesn't know about them. Anyway. Hello, Ashley. Yeah, that's right. God, I'm old. Can't read, can't breathe. Yeah, it's allergy season out here today. Well, today. It's allergy season out here right now. It's been pretty nasty. So everything out here is tickling my nose, so that's lovely. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So yeah, I knew I was gonna have to deal with a lot of stuff. So it's been a rough, but like I said, expected little period after the memorial here. But I made my choice, and I did things the way that I did by choice. And not everything went exactly the way I wanted it to, of course, because there are variables that you have no control over. But I tried, and that's important. That's another thing I want to talk about is, people people have been talking about how I'm making it difficult for others to do activism by doing something so, out there and dressing up like that and looking crazy. Look, people said that, to people, have been saying that to people for years. And, I mean, Jehovah's Witnesses are not gone yet, but they have been chipped away at pretty effectively, not just by, peaceful protesters, which I also support very much, but also by people that go in and try to be a little bit more loud about it. Now, when I go in there, I'm not yelling at them and trying to scare them. I raise my voice a bit, but honestly, if you were there in person, you would realize that I am actually not that loud. You can ask Stacy or Zeb, because they've been in crashes with me. Like, they're always telling me, nobody can hear you. You gotta speak up. So, I try to speak up as much as possible without also yelling, because for me, there's like a very small threshold between my natural speaking voice and like actual yelling. Like, there's me raising my voice is it's tiny. There's not much of a threshold there. So like, when it sounds like I'm yelling, I'm actually just literally raising my voice. Anyway, enough of that. Yeah, so I go in there and I have to raise my voice a little bit, but I'm not yelling at them. I'm not being violent or doing anything crazy, right? Not really crazy. The craziest thing I did, honestly, if you really go back and check it out, is just that I showed up in the outfit that I did. And there are no, as far as I'm aware, and I even did ask. I asked the witnesses who invited me to the memorial. As far as I'm aware, there's no dress code. I mean, they told me they were going to dress up. That's their subtle way of trying to pressure me into doing it. But they did not say that I had to. They told me, oh, you can wear whatever you want. Nobody cares. They even literally said nobody cares. Seriously, they said nobody cares. And you can go back to my video, out in service, come as you are. Go look at that one. And in there, when they're inviting me, I ask them about it. And they say, nobody cares. So I guess they weren't telling the truth. I guess people do care a little bit about how you dress. Anyway, and yeah, in my video yesterday, I explained why I chose to dress up as a freaking cartoon character. It was mostly just to get the attention of the people I was actually there to speak to, which was the children. The younger set. Well, when I say children, I mean people that are probably more in their upper teens, and they're closer to being able to leave if they're able to find some resources for that. And that's another. I wanted them to know there were resources out there to look for. Yeah, I probably looked crazy, but you know what? It doesn't matter what I was wearing. Like, really? It doesn't actually matter what I was wearing. I would have looked nuts. Just going in there, barging into their thing. And that's another thing. People keep telling me that things like, oh, that what I did was bad because I crashed it. Technically, I can't even call what I did last night a crash. If you want to be honest, it wasn't an actual crash. And the reason I'm saying that is because to crash an event is to show up uninvited. I was invited. I showed up invite in hand, as a matter of fact. So technically, what I did wasn't a crash. I interrupted when they were about to pray, which was, I'll admit that's not the most polite thing. But other than that, did I show up uninvited and cause anybody any physical harm? Nope. At the end of the day, literally, the only crazy thing I did was to wear a costume. And I don't consider that crazy. It was just pretty much trying to draw people's eyes, because they're not going to look at you if you just look like an average, whatever apostate, probably. They're going to turn their heads and they're going to pretend to be all righteous and whatever and not listen to you or whatever. But, I mean, you got to admit, Rick Sanchez shows up in your hall, looking like the reincarnation of Doc from Back to the Future. That's kind of hard to look away from. I'm sorry. It just is. And that's all I was going for with that. I wasn't trying to really be like funny, and there's nothing edgy about that. So whoever called me edgy, okay, that's funny. I mean, thanks, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like an insult or a compliment. I guess it depends on what age you are. Anyway, yeah. The looking crazy thing, though, I get that a lot in this recent crash, that people think I looked crazy, or that people are gonna just think that I was crazy. Well, good. Okay, honestly, if they think I'm nuts, maybe they'll go back home and they'll be like, gee, that person is like really, really messed up. Like they came in dressed up thinking that I would listen to anything they had to say like that. I mean, sheesh. Maybe their message was important. Maybe there's something to this. Or maybe they'll go, wow, they were like so messed up, like crazy. Like they were crazy. They were dressed up like a weirdo. Like maybe the cult damaged them. Maybe something really did happen to them. Because why would somebody do something like that? I mean, just being crazy is not necessarily a good enough reason. How did they get crazy? What caused that? What caused them to seek out the organization? Now, the short answer that they're probably going to comfort themselves with is, it was just Satan, right, possessing them. But I don't know. I didn't go in there and hurt anybody. You would think Satan would be a little more violent. And I wasn't in there dressed like a demon or anything. And I also wasn't telling people not to believe in God. I wasn't telling people to go in there and believe in a specific God either. I didn't say, go believe in Allah or Jesus or whatever person, I'm trying to promote. I didn't say anything like that. All I said was for them to look into it. And I mentioned child abuse, and I mentioned things that are very real issues. None of these things are necessarily arguments with the Bible itself or with religion itself. These are just things that are very dangerous and severe and serious issues that should be addressed. That anybody, even Jehovah's Witnesses, should agree are important things that should be addressed. No matter what you believe, these are things that are important and matter. So, crazy or not, and even the people calling me crazy admitted this, the things I said were true. And just because I'm crazy doesn't mean they weren't listening, or just because they think I'm crazy doesn't mean they weren't listening. It just might mean that they maybe they take me as a person a little less seriously, whatever, but they're going to remember that. And crashing isn't supposed to get an immediate, response. It's not supposed to get people to, just like that, just snap out of it. That doesn't work. I'm sorry, that's not how crashing works. I would be extremely surprised if somebody who was actually a believing Jehovah's Witness instantly woke up just because they heard somebody, no matter how they were dressed, if they were polite and proper and dressed in a suit, no matter what they said or how they were dressed. I can't imagine a believing Jehovah's Witness waking up immediately just after one crash. That doesn't happen. What happens is usually a seed is planted in their mind for them to go back and ponder eventually. And they're like, maybe it's a month from now, maybe it's a week from now, maybe it's several months from now, but they're like, huh. Maybe they see something that rubs them the wrong way, or they have they notice a discrepancy themselves in the organization, and they think back. They're like, hey, wait, where have I heard that before? Or or maybe they remember what happened with me, and it starts to like weigh on them a little bit in their conscience, and they're like, I kind of want to look into this. You know, this isn't a sudden and instant type of tactic. This is it takes some time kind of tactic, and it's supposed to not just be the only thing that they're exposed to. See, when I do this, I'm also hoping that there are other activists out there speaking to them in public, or that maybe they have family that doesn't believe and knows some of the things that I've been telling them, or maybe they notice some of these discrepancies in their beliefs versus what the scriptures say. You know, and these things compound and eventually get them to try and look into things more. It's not supposed to just be me. I don't have that big of an ego in thinking that it could just literally be me that wakes somebody up. It's got to be a combination of things, in my opinion. At least that's from my experience. That's what it's been that I've noticed. It's been a combination of different tactics that usually penetrates that outer Jehovah's Witness brainwashing indoctrination shell, and gets them to finally start thinking a little bit and accepting that there might be something wrong. So, you know, that's what I'm going for. I'm not trying I'm not trying to instantly wake somebody up because I think that, oh, they will recognize that I'm a cartoon character that they might secretly be watching without permission, and and they might listen to me because they like that cartoon. I'm not like, come on now. No. I would have to be a little deluded to think that that's gonna work like that. But another thing I want to mention is, you know, I know that it's really easy these days on the internet with anonymity and with just us being facing each other through text usually now. I know it's really easy to sit there and judge somebody and, you know, denounce what they're doing, especially without really thinking about it much, but you really shouldn't, for the reasons I already mentioned, because if you think about it, it's really not as bad as it seems, but also because calling people crazy or telling them they just look crazy, you know, okay, well, what if the activist that you are referring to, me or anybody else that does stuff like this, what if they really are suffering from mental illness? Do you really think it's helpful to stigmatize them? I mean, especially if they are in fact suffering from mental illness, as severe as you're thinking that they do, you know, shouldn't you be encouraging them because they managed to pull the spoons together to be able to go back and attempt to take their voice back, to go back and stand up for others as well? I mean, that's, to me, that would be an amazing thing if somebody that I legitimately believed had like severe mental illness still, you know, got out there and they pulled themselves up and they managed to, you know, to go in and have their message heard, or at least try to have it heard. You know, they tried, and as somebody who has had that issue myself in the past, and I even still currently suffer a bit from, you know, from mental illness. Like you have, there are some days, some weeks, some months, even depending on what you're suffering with, that you have like even the hardest time just getting out of bed. You can't even, you know, face the day, let alone fathom trying to face a cult, face a room full of robots who think that you're not even a human being, and that you're going to be melted in Armageddon and your eyes are going to be pecked out. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to face for anybody, for even a very healthy human being. So criticizing somebody who may be mentally ill, especially if you truly do believe them to be mentally ill, criticizing them for trying to engage in activism and to take back their voice and to stand up to their abusers, and affect change, even if you don't agree with how they're doing it, you know, that's not helpful. That seems kind of cruel, actually. I certainly wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go around being like, "Oh wow, yeah, great job. You look absolutely nuts. All you're doing is making it harder on us." And by the way, on the contrary, I don't believe I'm making it harder by what I did yesterday. As I pointed out in my video yesterday, I think what I did actually may have helped future activists because, one, they got to see an experiment. They got to see what it's like if somebody does go in there kind of looking a little weird. Okay, so I did something y'all didn't have to. And they also got to see, they got to see that different tactics can be employed successfully, and I use the word successfully in the way that, like, I actually got in the door somehow. That's what I mean by successfully. I mean, like, they also got to see that we learned a helpful thing that activists don't have to worry too much about how they're dressed. I mean, I'm not advising anybody in the future to go dressed up in a costume. Absolutely not. I probably will not be doing that again. But the point is that, people in the past have been like, oh, I would crash, but I'm afraid they would pick me out because I have a piercing, or because, I wear gauges, or because I'm kind of goth, or because my hair's dyed purple, or something like that. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Like, I feel like if they're looking for people that are truly weird looking, they're probably more looking for people that have, like, a dangerous look, like they've got weapons or something. But I think that it doesn't matter what you really look like. You pull up with tattoos, a big beard, or, like, gauges, or piercings, or dressed in your Metallica shirt or whatever, I don't think they're going to kick you out. So you don't have to. That's a way that I think I've actually helped future activists, is now I've shown that you don't have to worry too much about what you wear. So that's good. That's a good thing that we figured out. Because I know that people have not wanted to show up because of those things, and also because maybe they just didn't want to wear a suit and they thought they had to, or maybe they didn't want to, they didn't want to go business casual, or maybe they don't even have those clothes. Maybe it's a financial thing and they're prevented because they literally can't afford to dress up, so to speak. I want activism to be inclusive. I want it to be accessible. So that's a good thing that we found out. You can dress however you want. Come as you are, like, for real. Let me see here. Oh, by the way, happy Easter, everybody. I hope it's a wonderful day for you. I hope you're barbecuing and with your family, or out at a little event or something where they have something fun, or or cute going on, or like a little Easter egg hunt, or if you're pagan, doing whatever they do for, I believe it's called Ostara. For the pagans, it's a holiday about fertility. Fun fact, I actually used to be a Wiccan. There was a period for a year after I was a Jehovah's Witness where I learned about and studied Wiccanism, or Wicca, excuse me, Wiccanism, Wicca, and that was interesting. It's not at all like what I expected. I was mostly just curious about it because it was so demonized in the cult, that I figured I just want to see for myself what this is all about. And so I read up on it and I studied it for a year, and it was interesting. Still not my cup of tea, but I don't generally think that. I don't think that it was really a truly harmful religion or anything, compared to the cult. They seem to be more about respecting the earth and stuff like that. And they do believe in gods and goddesses and stuff, but it's like, kind of, I think most of them believe it in like a story kind of way more than or like in a ceremonial kind of way more than an actual, like, they think there are invisible entities watching us and stuff. So that was just an interesting part of my life. Oh, and, well, I'm glad you're having a nice day anyway, Ash. And hey, AJ. It's fun. You don't have to celebrate anything. Just celebrate life. Just celebrate being alive, and the fact that you're here, and that you can breathe the air, and that you don't have to be out in service, or waking up early for a meeting, or staying late at a meeting, or just celebrate being alive. That's a good enough thing to celebrate. And I'm happy to see all y'all here. I wonder if a Pope hat would make a statement. I don't know. I don't think I would walk in there wearing a Pope hat. I'm not really sure what message that would send anyway. But then again, I'm not really sure what message my wearing of the Rick costume sent. A lot of people seem to think that I was dressed like a Smurf. I mean, there's an idea. I mean, I don't know that you would get let in looking like a Smurf, because that might be kind of obvious to older witnesses, but I don't know. The other thing I get is that people think I was dressed up like in a troll wig. Like the troll dolls. What else did people think I was doing? I don't know. Some people thought that they were just thinking I was dressed as random stuff. Somebody called me a gosh, what did they say I was? It was something strange. I don't remember, some kind of demon or something. It was weird. But yep. So I don't know. I don't think necessarily that I did look crazy per se. And yeah, a lot of witnesses will probably write me off as that. That's fine. But again, I say that those people would have written off anybody else. Literally anybody else. It doesn't matter what they would have dressed like. They wouldn't have listened. They didn't listen to me the very first crash I did, when I was, dressed appropriately for the meeting. And, when I was subdued and polite. I even apologized for interrupting their meeting. All that good stuff. I was even going to cover my head, because this was back when I was presenting as female. I was going to cover my head, kind of as a little nod to their whole you got to cover your head when you're praying. But I just at the last minute I had forgotten to grab my head covering, so I couldn't do it. But everything else was polite. I walked in there, I sang their song, the only thing I did was interrupt their prayer. I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't scream at people in a threatening manner or anything like that. What's up, black sheep? I didn't throw anything around. I didn't do any. See, now that's the thing. Even in the Bible, Jesus flipped tables and and all that stuff. Jesus went in there and destroyed property. I'm not even trying to destroy anybody's property. But yeah, like I said, they'll call the police on a cartoon character, but they ain't gonna call the police on child molesters. Interesting. No matter how crazy I looked, at the end of the day, that's what you got to take away from this. They will call the police on a cartoon character before they call the police on a child molester. A cartoon character who's not even doing anything harmful. Yeah. I mean, how are you supposed to feel about that? He never ran from questions either, so there's that. Yeah, Jesus was more than happy to be questioned by people. Good point, Black Sheep. Anytime I tried to ask them a question, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I swear, these people must have taken a class in, how to avoid questions from journalists or something, because that's pretty much what you see on the news when a politician is trying to avoid a question. That's your opinion, or no comment. I'm seriously waiting for next time. That's what they're going to start saying. No comment. No comment. But yeah, if I looked crazy to them, well, I accept that, because I figured that's how I look no matter what. And if the way that I'm dressed, honestly, that's another thing. I got to say that I'm just going to put this out there. Honestly, dudes, if the way that somebody is dressed makes you not give a crap that children are being molested in your religion, then you're just cold. You're not going to listen no matter how I'm dressed. Like, it shouldn't matter how I'm dressed. If I tell you a child is being molested, that should concern you. It doesn't matter if I'm dressed like Homer Simpson, a clown, or a furry, or whatever weird crap is out there that you can be dressed up as. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter if I'm dressed up like Frank N. Furter from Rocky Horror Picture Show. It should still matter to you, especially if you're pouring your life into this organization. It should still matter to you if somebody comes in and says something like that. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Child abuse and stuff. In the world of the bunker witnesses, canned phrases stay fresher longer. Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. So I think what AJ's getting at here is he's trying to say that are you trying to say that like maybe people should use try to use common, easy to remember like phrases when they're doing their activism, like so that they can be remembered? Or I mean, or are you also saying that like the witnesses use canned phrases like "that's your opinion," "that's your opinion," you know, so that they can like, because no matter what, you know, that's an easy thing to remember to say to anybody, and you can say it at anything, and it probably semi applies, I guess, to whatever it is that they're yelling at, and it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's why they fall on "that's your opinion." Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, what are you gonna? How can you argue with "that's your opinion"? I mean, like, and then they can point to that later and say, "Yeah, that's just your opinion." Mm-hmm, yeah. Like they don't have. There's no accountability in that kind of response. That's your opinion. You're shifting the blame on somebody else. Is that right, AJ? Am I understanding that correctly? But yeah, like I said, and yeah, I pointed this out earlier, Black Sheep. I said, I asked him in the video where they invited me to the memorial. I asked him, so are we supposed to dress up? Or, and they said, nope, they don't care. They straight up said they don't care. And yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses, Jehovah's Witnesses like to relinquish themselves of accountability. So they say stuff like what AJ said. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Kind of like how when you remember in the Australian Royal Commission when the dude was saying like that he didn't know about certain stuff that was going on, and oh, we're not God's only channel. And he said it would be presumptuous. Excuse me. He said it would be presumptuous to say that we're God's only channel. Yeah, that's a funny way of wording that, huh? For people who claim they got the truth. Mm-hmm. They said that that I could wear whatever I wanted, so I picked something that was, you know, arguably a little ridiculous. But they let me in. They were the ones who gave me the invite. They said I could come like that. I mean, really. They had to expect somebody to be, you know, to be the sort of person who would try that at some point. But anyway, yeah, if you think I'm crazy or that I looked crazy, that's fine. That's your opinion. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, it really is your opinion. That's fine. I mean, I like I said, I openly admit that I am still suffering from mental illness. Not anything I would think that's severe enough to cause me to, you know, have like, I guess, a psychotic break and like be legitimately crazy acting, I guess. I don't like to use the word crazy though, because it's stigmatizing. It stigmatizes mental illness, which is something that should be treated differently than it is. Because people use that word and use mental illness to just write people off as not being valid or not having anything worth saying, or the things that they say that they aren't true. Just because somebody is suffering from mental illness does not mean that they aren't telling the truth. I mean, let me put it this way, guys. If you're one of those people out there who feels that just because I am trying to protect children in whatever way I am capable of and feeling capable of, and using whatever tactics I wish to try on my own time of my own free will, if you think that makes me crazy and you're slapping that label on me, well, guess who else does that whenever somebody tries to protect children? Jehovah's Witnesses. That's right. Anytime that somebody stands up and asks questions about their child molester protecting policies, who's actually in the organization, like if an actual witness asked them about it, they would be labeled as crazy too, no matter how legit they looked as Jehovah's Witnesses. So just keep that in mind. You're doing pretty much the same thing they are by calling me crazy for trying to protect kids. And yeah, like I said, I don't advise that people dress up, in a costume like that. And I'm not even trying to say that what I did was the best tactic or even a really good tactic. It was just a different thing that I tried as an experiment. And it's at a place where I knew the people, so it's not like I was walking in there thinking that having no expectation of how they were going to react. I kind of had a feeling of how they were going to react because, like I said, I know most of these people. They are old friends and family of mine. So I am also aware. I tried this on their congregation, their memorial specifically, because I know that the other type of activism has not been effective on them. So I figured, well, they've already, I've already proven that they, or not proven, I've already seen evidence in the past that they don't respond to, peaceful or subdued or quiet activism. And I'm not saying what I did was not peaceful. What I did was perfectly peaceful, in my opinion. I did not do anything violent. Yeah, I know they don't really respond well to other types of activism, including more subdued types of activism, which are slightly more quote-unquote respectful. So I figured I'd give them a little taste of this one and see what happened. Wasn't the worst experience I could have had. Honestly, I'm more terrified of one day walking into a hall and being met with somebody who truly is unhinged, and has brought a weapon and then proceeds to hurt me. That's something that I am actually afraid of, because there are Jehovah's Witnesses that are unhinged. And there are. I know that Jehovah's Witnesses aren't supposed to carry weapons, but there are witnesses, and we know this because we've seen the news stories of them killing each other, sometimes killing their families. We know that there are some witnesses who do have weapons, and sometimes I've actually seen posts online of Jehovah's Witnesses talking about oh yeah, let me see an apostate come and try that at my memorial. I'll, do this and this and this to him. Everything from, just beat me up to like actually shoot me. Yeah, I've seen that kind of stuff online. So just stuff to keep in mind if you are an activist, or if you're considering doing this, or if you're criticizing somebody who does activism. Like, we're aware of the danger we face, but we do it anyway because, bottom line, we want to protect kids. Anyway, let's see here. Black Sheep said, like good Pavlovian dogs, "What's the truth? You can't handle the truth." that just shows that you can come in looking as stupid silly as you want to get as many people to listen and see you, and they will ignore what is said, like the ostriches in the sand. Yep, that's correct. That's what I said earlier. Like, it's pretty bad that, if you hear somebody telling you that the organization that you're in is protecting child molesters, that you ignore what they say. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. It shouldn't matter what they're wearing. It really shouldn't. If that is what shifts your opinion on that sort of accusation, please don't be on a jury. I'm begging you, just because you judge a book by its cover. Oof, and not by facts and research. Anyway, folks, it's been a pleasant Easter afternoon here. Well, it is the afternoon, right? Yeah. Thought it was still the morning. Ugh. Like I said, been a long period there after the memorial. I am so exhausted. Like, oh, wish you all well. I've got to go. It's almost 8 p.m. Bye-bye. All right, later on, Ash. See you later. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you were here. Oof. Man, my bunny's even tired. He's already done. Look at him. He's camped out in his little grass. I saw your blue hair crash last night, and I was surprised that you encountered little resistance until you began speaking. Their guard is up for crashers no matter what color your hair. Yes, that's exactly right. They last year at the memorial, I don't know if you watched the video. It is there. It's the same title, but 2018 instead. It's Memorial 2018. Love you, Ash. Yeah, Memorial 2018. When I went with Stacy, we went pretty much dressed like we normally dress. She went dressed like herself. She was going to put on a dress, but she changed her mind at the last minute because she just couldn't. It was going to make her sick, which I feel that. Ugh. Dressing like a chick at crashes made me feel really sick. I hated it. Anyway, yeah, so she was going to wear a dress, but she didn't, so we ended up just going like ourselves. I dressed... I didn't think I was going to get in dressed the way I was, even though that's just normally how I dress. I was dressed in like a gray flannel over my... I think I was wearing my Metallica or my In Flames shirt. And I was wearing some pants, and my Converse, my Chucks, and a Rick and Morty hat. I was wearing my Rick and Morty hat, no joke. Actually, I have that on right now. Hold on. Ugh, scoot up. Let me see here. Can you see it on this? There you go. Yeah, I was wearing this dumb hat here the whole time too. I didn't even take it off when I went in. And they didn't even flinch. They didn't flinch. They let me in only, again, just like this time. They let me in after they kind of stopped me, put their hand on my arm a little, and they were like, "Do you have an invitation?" And I was like, "Yes, of course." And I pulled it out, and I showed them my invitation. So yes, they let me in again because that's apparently all they care about is whether or not you have an invitation. And I walked in, and I sat down. Oh yeah, my pants were tight, actually. They were a little tight, yeah. But yeah, so I walk in after getting past the invitation police, and I sit down. They put me in like the middle of the freaking room, pretty much. Like, I was really thrilled about that. I was very glad. I was like, whoa, okay. I'm glad I don't have to like try to forcibly position myself in the center of the room so everybody can hear me. That's good. That's going to make my job easier. So yeah, they put me in kind of the center of the whole room. And again, they didn't flinch when the bread came around and I took a piece of bread and I ate that. I'm surprised they let me have the wine after that. Like, after the bread, I munched it real quick, passed it, and I was at the end of the row, so it's not like they didn't see me eat the bread. And then, like, wine comes along, and I was expecting the guy to reach over me and just take it. But he didn't. It came to me still. So I stood up and I did my thing. I toasted the generation that would not pass away, just like good old Tony. Not tight pants Tony. Nice dude that crashed the memorial back in the day. Cool dude. And I let them know about how they were participating in a black mass and all that stuff. So yeah, last year, I managed to get in, and my hair wasn't even showing. They were vigilant, though. That was the whole point of me telling you this story. Is they were vigilant because they had their eye on Stacy the whole time. I don't know why they didn't pay attention to me. Yeah, Tony Prime. Thank you. I don't know why I didn't say his YouTube name. I should have just said that. Yeah, they were paying attention to Stacy for some reason more than me, and I think that's because maybe at the time she, was more recognizable because she had been really going at it a lot, and so they were probably sending her picture around all over the state. Even though she wasn't in her hometown when she was crashing with me, they were still probably sending her pic around all over the state. So, yeah, they were all over her like white on rice in a paper plate in a snowstorm with a glass of milk on the side. The whole time. From the moment she walked in after me. And we didn't walk in together either. So they were probably confused about which one of us they should pay attention to more, but since I actually walked in with an invitation, they probably were like less worried about me, I guess, somehow. But for her, she didn't come in with an invitation. She just walked in and was like, she just sat down in the back, whatever. But they could see her fiddling with her phone too. I had my phone recording before I even got in there because, oh no, wait, I don't even remember. Did I actually have it recording? I might have actually had to turn it on in there too. Never mind. Either way, I thought I had it recording. I know I recorded a little chunk before I actually walked in there though. Yeah. I tried not to mess with my phone as much as possible because I didn't want them to think anything. But Stacy was in there, like, on her live chat, and she was like talking to people in the live chat and like looking at her thing, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I hope she's okay back there, because I was thinking like she's probably doing stuff on her phone and they're probably watching her. And sure enough, yeah, they were watching her, and some dude comes over to her, bends over, and he's like poking her and like trying to ask her to come outside and stuff. And she's like, what? I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to watch them. And then they're like, you're on your phone. She's like, yeah, so. But yeah, at that point, like I started talking, so it was too late, and they were distracted, and there was just too much going on for them. And oh boy. But yeah, that was an event. If you want to watch that, like I said, Memorial 2018, you can find it. There's also, you can see her video too from her perspective, because they were surrounding her. They were on her. Like, man, like 11 or 12 of them were just, it was pretty bad. I'm surprised she got out unscathed, actually. And yeah, they were grabbing at me too, even though I was wearing my carpal tunnel brace, because I was having a little carpal tunnel flare up. And they didn't care. They were like, whatever, just gonna rip your arm out of its socket. We don't care. So yeah, they do pay attention for crashers. It doesn't matter, what color your hair is or whatever, or how normal you look, I guess. But at the memorial, like, you still kind of get a little break because, they invite so many different types of people. That's why you got to use the hack of taking the invitation. That's what gets you in. No matter how weird you look, apparently you can get in if you have an invitation. And as in Stacy's case, you noticed that she didn't have an invitation, but she, in that memorial last year, she looked more normal than I did. She did. Like the way that she was dressed was far more like normal and feminine and everything and all that. So she passed more like just a normal chick. I looked very much like an apostate, I thought. So it just goes to show the invitation is what they care about, I guess. That's what matters to the drones at the door, to the invitation police, the servants. But yeah, I really didn't get very much resistance until I started speaking. They truly don't care why you're there, as long as it's not to disrupt their service, I guess. Like, even if I were there to, like, you know, take notes and, you know, be dressed weird and then, like, maybe ask them some questions after, they probably wouldn't have been, you know, resistant as much to that. And I'm going to probably try something like that next year, because I do want to find out how it'll be different, and if they will be more accepting and listen to me a little bit more, and let me have more discussions with them and be more receptive to the information. If I can speak to them on a one-on-one level instead of trying to talk to them all at once, I think it may go better that way. I do tend to have more luck out in field service like that. Out in field service, ew. And I also have more luck when I speak to them over the phone, one-on-one. It's just so hard. Like, when they're in a group like that, the mentality, that group think kicks in, and then they're like, oh, we gotta shun everybody, like, gotta put our heads down, plug our ears, and go into apostate attack mode or something. So, you know, but like I said, some people do listen. This is a seed planting type of tactic, and it does take time. And it wasn't just really to wake people up. It was mostly 99% of why I went there, dude, and dudettes, and everybody else, was because, you know, I wanted to let the children know that we're out here. There's a support system out there. There's a community out there. There are people that want to help them and that will help them. You know, that it's not the dangerous, you know, evil apostate world that people think it is. Like, yeah, the world's dangerous, but it's no more dangerous than being in the cult, I think. The cult is even more dangerous for its own reasons. And I wanted to let the kids know that there is help, that it's safe to reach out for help, that they don't have to be stuck in that forever. Whenever they're ready to leave, they can do it. You know, that there's hope. That was what the whole point was, a message of hope, and letting them know there's a safety net beneath their feet. But yeah, guess that's about all I wanted to say. There's not really much more to say. I'm sorry that my streams have been so long lately. I try not to, you know, to ramble on and be this lengthy about things, but, you know, it's been a stressful few days, so, you know, if you can find it in your heart, cut me a little slack. I'm trying to process a lot that's happened and trying to be better for next year. And also trying to talk to people who don't necessarily agree with what I'm doing so that we can come to an understanding, or at least so that, you know, I can say my piece so that people know where I'm coming from and know that I'm not just trying to be an edgy douchebag and get my 15 minutes of fame and, you know, just, you know, I'm not, I don't know, people who know me personally know that that's not what I'm like, you know. And it's fair that you would assume that about me, I guess, not really knowing me and only seeing the kinds of things I do on here. And that's fine, you know. But now that you've heard a little bit from me, I hope that you have at least more of a nuanced perspective on what went down and why, and, you know, and then also the whole crazy stuff. Like, I hope you have a slightly different opinion on that, you know, and that you'll treat people a little differently in the future, because, you know, there are a lot of people that are mentally ill that left the cult. How do you get out of something like that completely unscathed? In my opinion, you really don't. Everybody takes some damage. Everybody. Some of it manifests in different ways, and some of us cope with it better than others, and you know, that's part of the spice of life, folks. You know, we're all different. And that whole we're all different thing applies to activism too. We're all different in the way we do it. We're all different. We were all us people now, us X's. We were all different in the way we received. the information that we got that ultimately let us out. You know, some of us took longer than others. Some of us were very quick about it. Seed planting does take time, and not everyone appreciates a farmer, Ash. That's all right. You know, people that are criticizing me are not even the people I'm trying to reach anyway, so, you know, that's fine. Like I said, even the Jehovah's Witnesses who see me as crazy or think that I'm evil or whatever, they're not the people I'm trying to reach either. I'm mostly trying to reach children. And mostly trying to reach younger Jehovah's Witnesses that are on the fringe, like the young adults that kind of know something's up, or that are maybe stuck in there and don't know really how to get out, or don't know that they can get out. Like there are some people that are really kept secluded when they're in the cult. They don't have a lot of outside influence. They don't really know. That's also for them, you know, the people that really won't ever go online and look at things or won't talk to people out in public about things like that. Anyway, you do what you can. And, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what, I still accept all criticism. Part of the gig. It is part of activism. It is part of the it's just part of how everything goes. It's an occupational hazard, as they say. Anyway, folks, I want you all to enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you've been enjoying your day. And I'm sorry that some of it was spent on this. I'm sorry about that, because like I'm not exactly super entertaining, but I just put this out here because I want people to really know how I feel about things too, and not just think that I'm completely, you know, unaware, or that I just ignore people that criticize me. You know, I listen to people's criticisms and I take them into account, but I also want them to hear what I have to say on the subject as well. Anyway, love me or hate me, I look forward to seeing all of you participate in some sort of activism. I really hope that you do, from the bottom of my heart. I want everybody to participate however they see fit and however they're capable. And if you can't, that's also fine. And if you don't want to, honestly, I feel that too. You know, part of escaping the cult is enjoying our freedom, right? So respect. All right. Take it easy, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy Easter.